Good evening. Welcome to your daily dose of fear. I hope I don't come off like that. I mean, I want you to eat, drink, be merry. Just don't eat the mushrooms, because they're not really portobellos. Anyway, welcome. Man, I did not get a video out today on the Dirt Cheap Preps channel, and my apologies for that. I do have a reason. Well, reason/excuse, because it didn't really take all day, but I sat down to do it, and once I touched the drone case, I was like, okay, I need to check for updates, because I'm real particular about that stuff, and I don't fly them, because they're tools, not toys, and so I don't really fly them that much, so I thought I'd check for updates. Well, there was indeed an update, which should have been simple enough, until I plugged in my remote and found out that, after pulling my hair out and doing a bunch of digging, finding out that there was a new software program that I have to use with the Generation 3 remote. Anyway, so tomorrow I plan to get that video done, and then I got that little short intro video too that I want to get done for that. So anyway, there is some breaking news right as I was playing the intro. Syrian air defenses respond to Israeli aggression targeting the port city. So we will get to that momentarily. Of course, I wanted to chat with you, but I wanted to make sure to get that information out there too. Not that I'm sure many of you that listen live in Syria, but anyway. So let's talk about this fear thing a little bit. I think there's an addiction to fear. I really do. And I see it more and more. Today there was even more silliness, and I'm not going to call out any particular channels or anything like that. But and you'll know it because I have to say enough, because I've got to tell this. I've got to. It's, to me, it was humorous. Please understand, I have a dark sense of humor. So I'm watching this video, and it's I guess simulating checking everything out. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. It was okay. Well, anyway, it's snowy out, and they're walking around and they're checking everything out, and anyway, there was a part of it to where they were talking about different ways you could achieve basically whiting yourself out in the snow, and as they were talking about different methods, they mentioned putting a sheet, using a white sheet, and I couldn't, my mind could not resist the thought of the question, well, would a KKK outfit work? Again, excuse my dark humor, but I thought that was comical. So anyway, I wanted to talk about this because it just seems like there's constant fear, and it's almost like folks really dig to find it, and there are reasons to be concerned, and I want to talk about that too. Actually, I will mention it now so I don't forget it. Pinball Preparedness. If you don't know his channel, you should search YouTube and find it. He did a video, I think it was yesterday. He did his first video on the subject, and then he talked about it a little bit more today. And I don't want to go into any detail because I'll butcher it, because I don't remember enough of the fine details. But apparently there is another concerning thing going around, and it's, as far as I know, not like 110% confirmed at this point, but it is something to pay attention to. I would urge you to check out his video, and again, tuck it in the back of the head. 2 years ago, when COVID hit, I told you that very same thing. When nobody else was reporting on it, when no U.S. outlets were reporting on it. And in fact, anybody that talked about it would get mocked at the time, right? Well, shortly after, because I don't know of anybody that was reporting it before me as far as like alternative news on YouTube. I don't. I'm sure there were people, don't get me wrong. I just don't know. I'm not a sub to any of the channels that did. And so I was hammering down pretty hard that we better watch, we better keep an eye on this. And here we are 2 years in. Somebody was right. So, do not discount information like that comes in. So I urge you to watch Pinball's videos. Tuck it in the back of your head and keep an eye out for anything that may indicate that we could be heading that direction. And then absolutely act accordingly. So that's not really what I was wanting to discuss, but I wanted to bring that up, and I wanted to make sure that that people understand that there are some things that you need to pay attention to, okay? But there's also a lot of what's the words I'm looking for here? Well, for one, repetitiveness, and two, again, like I said, stretching, looking for a topic to make a video on so that we can keep the YouTube check pouring in. That's pretty much what it really kind of boils down to. And so, like I saw another one today talking about the economy, and it's like, we know that the economy was done over a decade ago, 2 decades ago. The economy was done. And, it just, it makes no sense, in my opinion, if you really truly don't understand economics, to get on here. Now, and again, if you're a news channel, that's the news. But if you're a prepping channel, to sit there, when you don't fully understand the economy, how it works, what this, that, and the other thing is, to get out there and just keep making videos on different stuff like this, just to be able to put out content, be leery of that, okay? I'll tell you right now, economy, my canary in the coal mine, so to speak, is Economic Ninja. So if you're not aware of that channel, I highly recommend that channel. If you want to make money, I would assume the dude knows what he's talking about, but he's really got his feet in the water and watching things closely. He's not full of himself, which is incredibly important. And he's just very real with people. So that's my canary in the coal mine when it comes to economy. I've had several over the years, but I used to love JSNIP4, and then the dude just absolutely went off the deep end, and so it is what it is. It's like that. It seems as if channels get a lot of them, not all of them, but they reach a certain point, they reach a certain level of subscribers, and then their head just starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then before long, it's pretty much nothing but nonsense that comes out of them. Sad, but true. I used to love JSNIP4, man. He used to be awesome, and then he went from if you don't have physical gold and silver, you have nothing, to you better buy crypto now. And I'm like, what happened to the physical assets thing, dude? Oh, you're making money off of this. And I don't necessarily mean because of good crypto trading, which he did. He made a fortune off of that. Don't misunderstand me. But he was also making money, from I guess, affiliate type of stuff, plus YouTube money and all that. So that's why he kept doing it, because he could make the crypto videos and everybody and their brother would watch. And he was making good money doing it. And still is, I guess still is. I think his actual original channel's gone now, if I'm not mistaken. But then he got into all this dream and I forget stuff. It was kind of out there. And I'm not saying whether or not any of that's true or anything like that. I'm not getting into that debate. But it was sure the hell a far cry away from the economy. And nah, no thanks. So anyway, I go with Economic Ninja. That's the one I would watch. There are some incredible, in my opinion, news sources as far as prepper channels. Not a lot of them. Pinball's pretty straight. I like Pinball Preparedness. Southern Prepper 1 does a really good job. You know, as far as preparedness, off the top of my head, those are the two that really stand out. That don't get out there and put in a bunch of BS with what the information is. See, that's where I really kind of start having a problem, when somebody will just extrapolate like 20 miles from the information given, right? And take so many turns, you know. And unfortunately, a lot of channels do that. And why? Well, because they have to find a way to induce that fear. Why? Because if they can keep inducing that fear, you will keep clicking their videos, and the more people that keep clicking their videos, the more money they make. I know I'm hard on prepper channels. There's a reason. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Yeah, Bear Independent. Thank you, Redneck Prepper. I missed that. That's correct. He is a good source. I'm sure there's several, but there's also several that are I would say there's many more that are than there are that are good. But I did miss Bear Independent. That is correct. He is a good source. You know, it's a profit-based thing, and anytime you corrupt stuff with profit, you have to start being a little more leery about it. And like I said, I think we have an addiction to fear in this country. I think it's just kind of one of the things with our culture. And it works. You know? I mean, if people can keep you afraid of something every single day, they'll keep clicking, they'll keep coming back. You better believe it. It will actually, in many cases, get to a point and actually a unhealthy relationship. It creates a dependency. I'm speaking to you from a psychology mindset there. I've got a little experience in that. You know, it's a shame, because I look at it as exploiting people. That's how I look at it. Many may not. Many, you know, there's the whole buyer beware logic, which I think this largely falls under. But, you know, I'll be 50 years old in May. And I have never in my entire life tried screwing somebody over on a deal. Not once. I have always made sure that the deal was fair. Always. And in fact, I'll usually always take a hit on the deal. And if you talk to a lot of people that's dealt with me, I'm sure they would tell you the same. I don't charge a fortune for stuff when I do stuff. If I build websites, I don't charge a fortune. I don't charge even remotely what the web administrators, the companies and stuff would charge. Not even a speck of it. I don't see the point in doing that. I'm not out to take advantage of people. You know? And to me, trying to keep you in fear so you keep clicking is taking advantage of you. And I know I won't do it. I won't do it. You know, the thing of it is, there isn't any one of us, none of us, that can tell you what's really going to happen. We can all give you opinions, and we largely do. But I think, again, going back to my point that I said a while ago, I think the problem is how far out we go from the information that we have in front of us. You know, if we try to stick to that base information, we're usually pretty well good. But again, if, you know, like I've got this right here in front of me, this headline: Syrian air defenses respond to Israeli aggression targeting port city. Okay. So I could sit there and take that step after step after step. I could say, well, I've got another article here regarding Syria and a comment they made towards Israel, okay, just earlier before this. And, you know, so I could say, okay, well, the next step is yada, yada, yada. Syria's gonna, I don't know what type of, what type of military and equipment and stuff Syria has. I have no idea. I know they got fighter jets and stuff. You know, I don't know what they've got in the line of ballistic missiles or whatever. I no idea. I didn't say intercontinental because I don't think they've got those. But anyway, I could sit there and say, oh, well, you know, they're gonna ship a couple of missiles over to Israel tonight. You know, Israel's going to respond back with a small tactical nuclear weapon, and it's going to start. The sun won't need to come up in the morning because we're all going to be glowing, right? I could do that, but I'm not going to. And I think it's incredibly wrong that channels do that. I really do. You know, I really shook my head. And you guys know it. You were here. Well, some of you were here. You've seen it back when, with the election stuff. And all the different conspiracy theories that started coming out. Oh, this is going to happen this day. Nothing happened. And a week later, oh, this is going to happen this day. Nothing happened. How many times did we fall for it? 0. When I look for news and information, I'm not looking to confirm anything. I'm looking for news and information. And I think that's what sets us apart from a lot of the other channels. Because I'm not going in with a preconceived notion of what I want to see and then turning around and trying to fit everything in a manner in which would indicate that I was correct. That's not news. That's propaganda. And again, there's a reason. There's a motivation behind it, and it's largely money. And it's sad. It's sad. I do think we've got a lot on the horizon. I think we need to keep our heads on a swivel. I think we need to make sure we've got things ready. I mean, we don't stop here. I mean, don't misunderstand me. It's not like we got money to go out and buy a bunch of stuff and all that. But I am constantly, even if I'm not physically doing something to be better prepared, I'm mentally doing something to be better prepared. I don't stop. Because hindsight is a real pain in the ass sometimes. And I don't want that hindsight to be after the power goes out and possibly stays out for months or longer. I don't want to be the one sitting there going, I wished I would have did this. I wished I would have did that. Now, it doesn't matter how much I do, I'm going to have those moments. I'm sure we all are. But as long as I keep at it steadily and keep progressing and keep pushing forward and keep trying to learn, buying stuff when and where I can, then I'll be a lot closer to the objective of not having to do that all the time. Sit there and wished I would have did this, wished I would have got that, or learned how to do this. And believe me, there's a lot of stuff I don't know how to do that I wished I did. I am weak in several areas that I wished I wasn't. Medical being one of them. Medical is one of my very weak fields. Construction. I don't know very much about construction. Metalworking, I can do magic. It's unreal. I can, machine stuff to aircraft specifications. I can weld. I can do hydraulics and pneumatics, auto mechanics, all that stuff. You stick me in front of wood and I can't build you a square box to save my life. But it's because I haven't practiced. It's not something that I do. If I would spend time doing it, then I would build those skills. And I just honestly never have. But regardless of any of that, I don't even have the knowledge, right? I don't know the proper way to box in a window or however you would even term it. I have no idea. But there are a lot of fields I do know. And that's my biggest thing to individuals out there, no matter what situation that you're sitting in, no matter how much preps you have, no matter any of it, make sure that you're brushed up on your skills and make sure that you have the tools, supplies, whatever it is that you need to perform those skills. As long as you can make yourself an asset, it doesn't matter whether you're part of a large mag or anything like that. It doesn't matter. And on that, I've got a little something else I want to talk about. Kind of goes along with this whole stuff. Kind of goes along with, I talked last night about how it seems like there's this fantasy of violence almost in prepper communities because, it's so much easier to find videos of people talking about tactical stuff when it comes to prepping than it is a lot of other stuff. And why? Well, because it gets the clicks. We've already been through this. A lot of these channels are going to go wherever they need to go to get those clicks. But there's a video, and I linked it in the description of tonight's show. There's a video that I really think folks need to watch and take to heart. It's from a channel called Alpha Charlie Concepts. I like the dude. I really like the dude. And he talks in the video about training and real life situations and how much all this training would have even applied. And it's eye-opening. It's eye-opening to listen to him speak because anybody that's got a couple of brain cells to rub together can understand the guy's point. He's absolutely correct with what he says. A lot of this training, especially when it comes to like tactical type of training, there's some of it that's necessary, but there's a whole lot of it that's going to be like algebra. It's not really going to apply. And that's just a fact. That's just a fact. You can't simulate a tactical situation that you don't know. How do I word this? That you don't know what it's going to be. I mean, you can't just... You can prepare for different scenarios, absolutely. But real life in those scenarios, in many cases, are going to be apples and oranges. Right? So let's say that you train for room clearing, which, by the way, you should probably never do if you don't have to, because it's a death sentence. But let's say that you've trained a dozen times for room clearing, but let's say that there was one corner of that room where the other person was, and you hadn't trained with somebody in that corner in your simulation. I hope I'm explaining this right. It could throw you off. If you're used to your simulations, your training, if you're used to somebody always being on the right, or if they're going to be on the left, they're going to be in the left back corner. And if you sit there and you train yourself and you go through these motions and you go through these motions and that person is right in the corner diagonal from you when you enter the room, it can throw you off. So tell me again, I've been involved in situations. I've been involved in situations back in long ago. I was at Mom and Dad's, and there was a couple officers there to speak to me. I'll leave it at that. And I was sitting on the couch watching TV. I was just literally sitting on the couch watching TV, and they came in the living room, and I swear it was at least 10 seconds. At least 10 seconds before they saw where I was. That's a long damn time. I'm not exaggerating. It took them a long time. And I was just sitting there watching TV. I wasn't doing nothing. And they looked around, but they were looking in all the places almost it seemed like where I'd be hiding. They weren't looking right in front of, almost pretty much right in front of their face. So you need to think about that. And you need to understand that training is good, but training's not life. And things can be very, very different in that real world situation. I'm not trying to speak against training. I'm not saying don't train or anything like that. But I think making it such a high priority could actually, after, a certain level, become harmful. Because again, you're going to be looking for something other than you're going to walk into. That's going to cause a hesitation. Hesitations cost lives. Just something I want you to think about. Right? Don't, if for instance you were walking into a room clearing or something like that, don't have any preconceived notions. Okay? Don't automatically expect that they're going to be back behind that door. You need to make sure that they're not standing right in front of you. Don't get yourself caught in some type of repetitive trap. Okay? Do you know that most people, when they room clear, they do it in the same direction? Fact. Do you know, and I'm going to say this in a different way, do you know the easiest way to win a fight? If somebody approaches you, and typically most of the time they're going to approach you and try to fight you right-handed, most people, spin it around on them and fight them left-handed. But you have to know how to fight left-handed. I'm telling you, I've done it. People don't know what to do. When they come at you and they want to fight you right-handed and you turn around and you switch southpaw, they have no idea what to do. So think about how you would use that to your advantage in room clearing. Yeah. Be careful of training. It can cause more harm than good. You can get yourself stuck in patterns that could actually cause problems. But room clearing is a bad idea anyway. Don't even attempt it unless there is absolutely no other alternative. Stay away from that crap. That's for nut jobs. Last thing you want to do is put yourself in a situation to where somebody's had a chance to set up, bunker in, however you want to put it, and you're the cat walking through the door. You don't want to do that. So, but I had to use an example, so that was a good one to use. Believe me, a lot of folks, when they hear what I said, it's probably gonna be like, "Oh crap, that's right. I do always go to the left. I do always go to the right." You know, a lot of times I've seen most of the time go to the left. That's what I see almost every time, is people room clear to the left. So use that to your advantage. You make sure you're there to give them a gift from the right. Walk right into them. Never run from a fight. Always go into it. So, and I'm talking about if you're going to fight. And I don't know. I don't talk about this stuff normally. I'm not. That's not what we do. Just be careful of the information that's out there. There's a lot of it that could get a lot of people hurt. And the sad truth of it is, it's by individuals that are just trying to put content out so they can make a dime. It's capitalism. I got no problem with capitalism. But we are in a buyer beware society. And unfortunately, we're also in a pretty gullible society as well. And those two don't mix very well. So, it is what it is. Try not to be that person. Try not to be that person. Okay, let's talk some news. Let me go ahead and start with this. We're going to switch around a little bit. Let me go ahead and start with this. So earlier, let me switch views here. Earlier, this headline had came out. Syria condemns unprecedented escalation by Israel. And it says Damascus has pushed back against the Israeli government's plan to expand Golan Heights settlements. And it says here the Syrian government has sharply denounced the Israeli plan to double the population of Jewish settlers in the occupied Golan Heights captured from Damascus in 1967, arguing the move is fomenting tensions. In a statement on Monday, the Syrian Foreign Ministry rejected the latest Jewish settlement expansion plan, arguing it's a violation of international law. And it's quoted here, the government of the Syrian Arab Republic strongly condemns the unprecedented, dangerous escalation by the Israeli occupation authorities in the occupied Syrian Golan and their persistence in settlement practices and massive and systematic violations that amount to war crimes, the ministry said, accusing Tel Aviv of confiscation of land and property and the theft of natural resources in the occupied region. So my thoughts are that the breaking news that I had at the beginning of the show is response. And as you see here, Syrian air defenses respond to Israeli aggression targeting Port City, says state media. Says Damascus says it is repelling an alleged Israeli attack targeting the area near a major port on the Mediterranean Sea. Syrian air defenses were activated after the country's principal port of Latakia came under a missile attack which sparked a major fire resulting in damage to the port, Syria's state media reported. Footage posted online shows a series of blasts rocking what appears to be the port. Flames can be seen engulfing the port and lighting up the night skies in another clip from the scene. The port has reportedly sustained material damage in the strike. A number of containers were burned down as the result of the attack, SANA reported. There have been no reports of casualties. So, again, I kind of have a feeling that that's a reply, essentially. My opinion. That's what I think. So let's shift gears a little bit. We'll get back to the war drums. I don't have a lot of headlines here to talk to you about tonight, and there's really not a lot of headlines in that I tweeted out. It's been a little bit of a slow day, to be honest, and I think partially part of that is kind of, we'll call it Christmas hangover. I think gears are just starting to get back in motion, so to speak. There was a little slowdown. In fact, there was quite a bit more of a slowdown than what I was anticipating. Christmas was actually pretty quiet, and I figured that would be. But I figured by today, because Sundays are normally a little quiet too, I figured by today we would be full force into it, and we really weren't. So I do expect that to change. I really do. I think it will ramp back up, and I don't know that there'll be a slowdown for the new year or not. But I don't think there's, at least after the new year, I don't think we're going to see a slowdown for a long time. So we'll see. And I can't tell you, oh, this is going to happen, that's going to, because you know what? Anybody that tells you that stuff, they're full of crap. It's just, it's the patterns of everything. It's just all the different things that are going on and the levels of escalation that they're at. It's kind of a no-brainer that there's a hell of a lot that's right around the horizon. But not a single one of us can tell you what, when, how, or anything like that. All we can do is, look at all the different situations going on, keep taking fresh looks at them, and keep triaging it. That's all we can do. Just keep triaging it, 3 weeks ago, I wouldn't have told you that Iran was a very big concern on my mind. Today I would. I would absolutely tell you that. The Iran-Israel situation looks to be escalating very rapidly. 3 weeks ago, that wasn't the case. And that wouldn't have been on my radar quite as much. So, none of us know. None of us know. And any of the people out there that act like they do, man, again, they're doing it for clicks. There's a profit motive there. Let's see. Read that. Okay, we're going to shift gears to COVID. I had to remember where the hell I was at. We're going to shift gears to COVID real quick. We're going to cover this stuff here. COVID wreaks havoc on holiday travel. I'm sure you've heard at least somewhat about this. What was that? Oh, I hear a plane, I think. Anyway, it says mass flight cancellations continue as Omicron infections soar. The travel chaos that broke out during Christmas is spilling over into the week leading to New Year's as global airlines have canceled thousands of flights, more on Monday, due to rising COVID-19 cases among staff. It says over 2,350 flights have been canceled and nearly 6,100 delayed, with Chinese and U.S. airlines responsible for the majority of the interruptions, according to the FlightAware data tracking website. The massive disruption in the U.S. reportedly occurred due to crew members testing positive or isolating. Meanwhile, Hong Kong is reportedly banning all Korean air flights for 2 weeks amid positive cases among some arrivals. So it says, all in all, around 8,000 flights were grounded over the Christmas weekend that started on Friday, shattering hopes of traveling and spending time with family and friends. And like I had said, there's somewhat of a silver lining here. I mean, it would have really sucked for all these individuals to get somewhere and not be able to get back in time to go to work or whatever they need to do. That would have really sucked. And I'm sure that's happened to a lot of people, because I'm sure there's a lot of individuals that had already flown to their loved one's house, or their mistresses, whatever, until, beforehand, to be over there a little early or whatever. and then wound up they got trapped, So it's kind of a good thing, because if it would have happened, any later, there would have been a whole hell of a lot more people stranded. So we'll see. I don't know. Again, a lot of people making a lot of guesses on this stuff. To me, the given excuse seems pretty plausible to me. I mean, this Omicron apparently is really, really contagious, and seems plausible to me. I'm not seeing reasons for us all to be scared and running around our houses flailing our arms and screaming, but absolutely, it's spreading quick. So I don't see where there's a big conspiracy. Not in this. Not at least in this. And in other stuff involving the airlines, things don't add up with the official story. But this, I think, it just is what it is. Now this, I thought this was very interesting. Headline I put out today: no federal solution for pandemic, Biden concedes. Says no longer vowing to shut down COVID-19. The president says states will need to solve the crisis on their own. You know why? Because they don't have the constitutional right to do anything. And there's enough people that stood their ground and said, hell no. And this is where we're at. Now the fight's not over. All he did was hand the stupid little baton or whatever to the states. And as we know, we should know, remember that the previous president, this is how he did things. And I'm not trying to get into a right-left argument or anything. I don't do that. I don't pick sides. I sit there and watched Trump do things encourage the states to do things on a state level time and time again. Red flag laws, that should be enough of an example right there. So I think this is unfortunately going to be a new way of governance that we're going to see. I think that the president, the administration stuff, I think when they want dirty work done, I think that they are going to push it on the states to do it. Not only because in many cases they don't have the constitutional authority to do these things, but also because then they can step back and say, well, I didn't do it. Your governor did it. And they love doing stuff like that. So that's where this is at this point. And it says right here, President Joe Biden has apparently backed down from his pre-election pledge to stop COVID-19 in its tracks, telling governors that it's up to state governments to end the pandemic. He said there is no federal solution, Biden said on Monday in a teleconference with governors. This gets solved at the state level. Says the statement was in stark contrast to Biden's bold pledge in October 2020, just 4 days before the presidential election, to stop the pandemic. He's quoted as saying, I'm not going to shut down the country, he said at the time. I'm not going to shut down the economy. I'm going to shut down the virus. He repeatedly made the same promise while speaking to supporters on the campaign trail. Look, if you haven't learned yet not to listen to a damn word they say on the campaign trail, I don't care, right, left, middle, they're nothing but salesmen. Used car salesmen. That's all they are. Lie, 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 lie. Just to get you to go vote for them. Don't fall for it. From any of them. None of them. None of them. Not even the ones that make you feel all warm, fuzzy, and tingly inside. Especially not those. because that's what they do. They try to get a hold of your emotions, whether that be fear, whether that be adoration, whatever. They try to get a hold of an emotion, and then they try to lead you around by it. And this is both sides. All sides. That's how they work. That's what it's about. Don't let yourself get emotionally invested in any politicians. And you'll see a whole hell of a lot more than what you did before. That's why I won't pick a side. I know better. I've been watching this stuff since I was a teenager. I know better. Fauci issues stern warning over New Year's parties. So that's a thing. It says here, White House COVID-19 guru, you mean gooball? Goober? Something like that? Says Americans should stay away from big holiday bashes. Okay, Jen. That means, what does that mean for us? Oh, yeah, a normal day. Says here, White House medical advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci has broken the bad news to Americans awaiting his guidance on New Year's Eve parties. Wait, Americans awaiting his guidance. Very, very sick people they are. Saying that they should again forego large gatherings because of COVID-19 pandemic. When you are talking about a New Year's Eve party where you have 30, 40, 50 people celebrating, you do not know the status of their vaccination. And by the way, you also don't know where those underwear came from with the sprinkles on it. But hey, says I would recommend strongly stay away from that this year, including the underwear with sprinkles. Fauci said on Monday in a CNN interview, there will be other years to do that, but not this year. This is the, do you, right? Only you know your situation. Only you know your circumstances. You do you, right? I said what I did to Jen jokingly because we don't do anything. We don't ever do anything. It's always just us here for the most part. Didn't do anything for Christmas. Nobody was here. We didn't go anywhere. Won't do anything for New Year's. We just don't do anything. And I'm happy with that. Don't think she's itching to go out and be Miss Social Butterfly or anything like that. We're good. We're good being here, keeping to ourselves, and I prefer it that way. I really do. Man, when the Bible talks about being set apart, I take that to heart. And it's really hard to be involved in this society, this world, very much at all, and still be able to remain set apart, because people will drag you into their evil. Even if that evil is, say, gossip, talking about somebody else. Man, I think a lot of people overlook just how bad that is. The rampant lies that people tell. I mean, people that go out there and say anything as long as it support their side. If you're trying to be set apart, if you're trying to walk the path, man, those are some stumbling blocks I don't want to fall over. I'm not trying to turn this into a biblical hour or nothing like that. I'm just telling you, there's a reason I sit here at home and don't do stuff. I don't want to be dragged into the evil. He said for me to live apart. That doesn't mean live a part of this, live a part of that, live a part of that. No, that means live apart. Get away from the evil. Do no evil. And unfortunately, it's hard to do that and be an active part of society. It truly is. And the more you do try to live set apart and not do those things like gossip or lie or, go out and be a drunkard or whatever, the more you don't do those type of things, the more people critically look at you, the more people will cast you off. Believe me, I know. Oh, I'm just saying. I don't know how the hell I got on that topic, but hey, let's move on. CDC unveils new COVID-19 quarantine guidance. I do that. I go off in tangents and... let's see. The U.S. National Public Health Agency halves recommended quarantine time as infections surge. Says here, U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has cut its guidance for isolation of people newly infected with COVID-19 to 5 days from 10, saying the virus typically spreads early in the course of the illness. The change stems from growing evidence that COVID-19 transmission usually occurs within a short window, from 1 to 2 days before the onset of symptoms to 2 to 3 days after, the CDC said on Monday. The agency recommended that people who test positive for the virus isolate themselves for 5 days and, upon leaving quarantine, wear a mask for 5 days to minimize risk of infecting other people. Hang on. Coffee time. So that's at least good news, right? I mean, again, you do you, boo. But, even from an official whatever, this is good news. This is good news. I honestly think that we're seeing the end of COVID. I think we're seeing the end of it right now. I think Omicron was a blessing. And I don't mean to make light of individuals that lose their life to it, or even individuals that do have a hard time with it. Absolutely not. But the fact of the matter is, from what reports that I've seen, and again, I don't go looking for any particular thing, I just look at the reports. I try to take in as much of them as I can, so I've got a good idea. And most of them say that the symptoms are pretty mild. Much akin to the flu. Not the flu, sorry, much akin to the cold. So, hey, that's good news. But don't expect for those that are profiting from this, or that are gaining power and authority from this, don't expect them to give it up anytime soon. They're going to be holding on to it for as long and hard as they can, believe me. They've enjoyed it. They've all enjoyed it. Whether we're talking the big corporations that have absolutely profited from this and will continue to profit because so many of the smaller businesses has went on under during the past 2 years. How many mom and pops have went under? How many chain, even the larger type of box stores? Look at the ones that went under over the last 2 years. So every one of these stores that closes, Amazon just makes more. Or Walmart just makes more. You see? Because people still need those goods. So it's crazy. And those, like I say, those that are profiting, those that are obtaining power and authority, they're going to do everything they can to keep it. They've been enjoying it. Switching subjects, by the way. We're going to go beat some war drums for a moment. I've only got 4 articles up on this, then we'll get to headlines. Japan holds drills in case foreign forces invade disputed islands. Don't need to go into a lot of this. Pretty much speaks for itself. Says here, Japanese media has revealed details about last month's military drills that focused on repelling a foreign invasion of disputed islands claimed by China. And it basically, that's That's all really there is to it. I mean, they just did a bunch of exercises. I think that they're going to continue. I think there's already exercises actually planned, if I'm not mistaken, with the U.S. I don't know if this was one of them that the U.S. was involved in, but I do believe there's one coming up that the U.S. is going to be involved in. Some drills with Japan. Man, I look at all of these situations, and like I say, it changes. What I think is our bigger concern changes all the time. And right now, I honestly think I'd be watching Israel and Iran the closest. That's who I would be watching the closest right now. But again, that could change tomorrow. That could change by the end of the show. Always have to keep reassessing. U.S. threatens Russia with unprecedented sanctions. That's right. We've threatened them with her. Yeah, that's right. We're gonna send Kamala over to Russia if they don't knock it off. Oh no, wait, sorry, it's not true. It says the White House is coordinating a package of high-impact restrictive measures to slap on Moscow in case it invades Ukraine. Can't we just send them Kamala? If Moscow encroaches on Ukraine's sovereignty, the U.S. will impose sanctions against Russia like no one has ever seen before, Vice President Kamala Harris warned on Sunday. In an interview with CBS on Sunday, American Vice President I almost said something else. Kamala Harris said that Washington is coordinating its position with allies and is making sure that the Kremlin is aware of the possible consequences of military action. And this is her quote. It says, "We are having direct conversations with Russia. The president, as you know," there's no giggles in here? I guess they didn't record the giggles. Anyway, it says, "The president, as you know, met recently virtually with Putin, and we are very clear that Russia should not invade the sovereignty of Ukraine, that we must stand up, and we are standing up for its territorial integrity," she said. This is really edited down. It's got to be. "We are working with our allies in that regard, and we've been very clear that we are prepared to issue sanctions like you've never seen before." See, the reason I say it's edited down is because it actually probably sounded much like we're having direct conversations with Russia. The president, as you know. Yeah, something to that effect. Anyway, we'll move on. Sorry, couldn't resist. Ukraine may strike Russia first at West's behest, says the MP. Says here, opposition politician Mikhail Delegin, something like that, claims that Kiev is preparing to attack Russia. At the behest of the West, Ukraine may strike at Russia in February 2022 and launch an offensive in several directions, including in Crimea, an opposition MP in the Russian State Duma claimed on Sunday. According to RIA Novosti, the unlikely claim from Mikhail Delegin suggested that, contrary to what has been reported by many Western publications, Russia could actually be the target of a military assault early next year. And they're quoted as saying, "There's a real threat of an attack on Russia, but they're being prepared for it," he claimed. "Things are hard enough for them in Ukraine to keep people in line. The only way is war." So, again, we'll see. I don't know really how much I hold into this, how much water that holds, but and this, as you see, it says NATO preparing for war, Russia claims. It says here, the U.S.-led military bloc's posturing has fueled Russian fears of conflict. Says speaking during a briefing for military attachés and other foreign diplomats in Moscow on Monday, Russian Deputy Defense Minister Alexander Fomin accused NATO of readying up for an all-out war with Russia. He said the military development of the bloc has been redirected in full to prepare for a large-scale, high-intensity armed conflict with Russia, Fomin stated. The preparation comes with the expansion of the bloc's military capabilities and is also reflected in NATO's program documents, where Moscow has been unequivocally named as the main source of threats to coalition security, Foman noted. At the same time, older documents, including the 2002 Rome Declaration establishing that Russia and NATO do not regard each other as adversaries, remain in force, he added. The persistently cold relations between Russia and the U.S.-led alliance have gotten even worse in recent months, and you know all that story. I'm not going to go through all the other things, but here he also said that we believe that this agreement has been developed in the interest of both Russia and Europe as a whole. We are looking forward to a serious, constructive conversation, he told the diplomats. We are waiting for the alliance to provide a substantive reaction to our proposals and are ready to start negotiations at any convenient moment. So, we'll see. You know, the good news is, if what we're told about all of this is true and accurate, you know, the good news is there's still diplomacy happening. They're still talking. It's when they quit talking that you really need to be concerned. And there was a spell there that they weren't talking. So things were really tense there for a little bit. At least they seemed to be. And again, everything can change in the blink of an eye. So okay, let me have some coffee and a couple of vapes. Must be vaping a lot today because my batteries are not lasting today. It's either that or the aliens are trying to probe my brain again and they're killing my e-cig batteries. Quit it. Go probe Biden again. No, I don't know. Because I don't think I've really been vaping more. I think all my batteries are old. They really need replaced. That's why I swap out 3 different sets of them, because they're all old and don't last very long. Okay. Let's do this. Alright. Everything is from this morning. At least that I posted, that is. Anti-lockdown protesters bring sea of lights to Vienna. President suspends PM in election row. Japan holds drills in case foreign forces invade disputed islands. Actually, I covered that, sorry. Russia's tough new rules for foreign workers. Russia not delivering enough gas to Europe is a pack of lies, says Gazprom. And this blows my mind. Because you have countries that are doing what they can to block them from being able to flow gas into different areas. And then at the same time, turn around and tell them, well, they're choking it back. It makes no sense. Well, if you need more gas, then, I don't know, maybe open the other line? Nah, that's too simple. You know, I get this. I get the whole resources thing. I get that, you know, the more gas that Russia exports to these other countries means the more money they make, and the more money they make, the more powerful they become, and blah, 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 blah. How about we focus on making ourselves strong again? Instead of trying to hold back everybody else, instead of our government trying to hold back everybody else and hold back its own citizens, maybe we should focus on truly building back better. What a thought. How about we build back better by reverting, by going back? How about we take a lot of regulatory steps back? and allow people to do business, allow people to create business, to create jobs, without having to pay the man for every little step they make, right? I mean, here's a thought. How about instead of cranking up minimum wages to amounts that companies can't afford, and I'm not talking about the $15, by the way. I'm talking about, going insane. To me, that was fair. To me, that was fair. But how about, instead of jacking it up even further, since that's really not enough, to be honest, how about we stop hitting them with so many taxes? How about we stop taxing the hell out of everybody? Oh, because then we have to shrink the government. Can't do that. That's what I'm saying. We need to go back. Building back better, in my opinion, would involve doing a lot of tearing down. Not building, tearing down. Let the people build. The government needs to stop building. That's the problem. They keep building and keep building. They need to stop building, and they need to let the people build. They need to let us build back better. They need to step the hell back and leave us alone. Anyway, I guess I digress, although I really didn't. Let's see. Unvaxxed NFL star hit with $100,000 in fines. Yikes. Revenge porn is up over 300% in London. So, watch that dating in London. Study reveals how COVID affects the brain. British Parliament repairs could run to £14 billion, says the media. Chechen leader suggests Russia should invade and annex Ukraine. A wind from Middle Earth found in hidden passage. And I've heard about this over the last day or two, I guess. Of course, it's got conspiracy theorists running wild. I would love to know all the ins and outs of what's going on here. I really would. There's a lot of stuff about the earth that I would love to know. But I certainly am not going to come up with some crazy flat earth-like conspiracy theories just to sound cool, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Again, some of the theories are profit-based because it's people on YouTube that, for whatever reason, other individuals love. It doesn't make sense to me. It does not compute in my brain. It doesn't. I don't know why anybody would want to be willfully and purposely misled. It just blows my mind. It's got to be like some type of codependency or addiction. And that's why I said earlier about being addicted to fear. I think it's the same with conspiracies and all that. I think there's an addiction. Man damages hundreds of cars to the tune of £150,000 with nail scissors. That's going to be the next thing to be banned. Major economy sees renewed calls for crypto ban. Be like, those aren't fingernail clippers in your pocket, are they? Get on the ground. Australia asked not to turn New Zealand into penal colony. U.S. threatens... Oh, I covered that. Tiny territory strives to be world's crypto capital. Russian jailed for inciting hatred in Belarus. Polish president vetoes bill that would have affected U.S.-owned channel. Largest ever group of rogue planets discovered in the Milky Way. As long as they leave Uranus alone, that's the only important thing. European country makes gender change easy. Yeah, but what type of hoops do you have to go through to buy a car? To buy a car and license a car? But hey, let's make gender change easy. Israel sets precedent with fourth booster shot. Oops. Let's see. COVID wreaks havoc on... Oh, covered that. Sorry. Health Minister promotes VR for the vaccine anxious. Airline to fly Boeing 737 MAX 3 years after deadly crash. What boycott? China says U.S. officials have applied for Winter Olympic visas. So, and I'm wondering if that's true. I couldn't tell you. I don't know if it's true, but if it is, that's kind of lame on our government's part. This whole diplomatic stuff, I think it's stupid. I'm one of those people, I think people, including nations and all that, I think everybody just needs to be on the level and straight with each other. I think all of us would be so much happier on every level if we were just honest and direct. All right. And today that's considered offensive. I mean, people hate me for it, for being honest and direct. One of the things I can't do is let somebody bullshit me. I can't do it. I can't say, because I see it as a form of disrespect. It actually is. Somebody to intentionally lie or mislead you is disrespecting you. Plain and simple. And I treat it as such. And so if somebody's literally in my face, I'm toe-to-toe with, and they try to feed me a line of crap, I'll call them out right there on the spot. Because that's disrespect, and I'm not going to disrespect them in that way. I'm not going to let them disrespect me in that way. It just is what it is. Another tangent. Damn it, stay to the point. EU conducting political Kama Sutra, says Russia. Let's see. Israeli minister under 24/7 protection over threats from Jews. I don't know for sure why it's put in quotes. I didn't read the article. So, Alphabet hackers gaming UK government site. Cleaning rules force U.S. airline to turn back flight midair. They didn't clean the toilets. I don't know. NATO gearing up for war with Russia, says Moscow. Oh, I covered that. China complains about near misses with SpaceX satellites. And it makes me think of George Carlin. Whenever I hear the words near miss, it makes no sense, does it? Wouldn't it be a near hit? Anyway, wouldn't a near miss mean that it hit? Makes no sense. It's like driving on a parkway and parking in a driveway. Let's see. Russia's reabsorption of Crimea saved it from neo-fascists and U.S. mercenaries, says the defense minister. 30 years after the fall of USSR, Russia has no plans to remove Lenin's body from the Red Square. Ethical standards put whites at the back of the line for COVID-19 treatment. Apparently it's something to do with Minnesota. Again, I didn't honestly read the article. Apparently, deliberations in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial resumed today. And about that, the sad thing is this reminds me of, I think it was the Enron thing. Was it the Enron thing that got, what's her name? What's her name now? The homemaker lady. Martha Stewart. Wasn't that Enron? It was one of those things. Nonetheless, that's what's going to happen here. You're going to see Ghislaine Maxwell take the fall, but all the people that actually really, don't get me wrong, she committed a lot of crimes. She should have to pay for them. But think about the names and the information that she knows. And what they'll do is they'll just sell her down the river, and you won't hear about it again. It'll be done and over. You watch. It's like Cuomo. This whole thing with Cuomo and all the allegations against him. I just covered that, yesterday? Poof, gone, done. He got away with murdering all those people in the nursing homes. He got away with all that sexual harassment, all of it. And you're not going to hear a word about it again. It's done. It's over. He got away with all of that. Free and clear. It's mind-blowing to me. No federal... I covered that one. Boeing and Airbus sound alarm over 5G rollout. I've seen a lot of these headlines lately. And I haven't dug into it. Fauci issues stern warning over New Year's parties. Oh, I covered that one. Let's see, I covered that one. Covered that one. And that one. We're done. That was it. I'm telling you, there wasn't really a whole lot today. It was pretty slow. So, that's a good thing. Take that as we can get it and consider it a blessing. Because I do think we got rocky roads ahead. And I'm not saying that from a angle free to fear. I'm just telling you, keep your head on a swivel. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. And I don't think things overall are going to get any better. I think they're going to get a lot worse. But, I know that it seems a lot of people are waiting for this defining SHTF moment. And like I said yesterday, we're already there. We're already in SHTF. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be cliffs to fall off of. But this gig's already been started 2 years ago. In fact, I would argue that this gig's been started over a decade ago. I would argue this started even before the 2008 housing crisis. This has been a slow build-up for a long time. Our problem with our economy is not something that just happened since COVID. They've been kicking that can down the road for decades. With an S. Absolutely. And to think it's going to get better? That's crazy. They just keep patching it. They just keep it looking like it's good to go. Now, how this works, I don't know, because I'm not an economist. I don't understand how they can get away with this. And I'm sure there's answers and stuff. I get with the world reserve currency and all that stuff, but there's a lot of it that just doesn't really add up or make sense on how they're able to just keep printing this money and all of that. It just doesn't really make sense. And I don't think that there's any foundation to our currency right now at all. None. I think it's, I've said it for a long time. The easy way to explain fiat currency is just to use, instead of the word fiat, use the word bullshit. Because that's what it is. It's largely based on consumer confidence, which is bullshit. Right? How we feel about the economy shouldn't dictate how well our dollar does. Right? Our gold reserves should dictate how well our dollar does. Not our opinions, not our attitudes, not our feelings. So, and they're able to use that. And they're able to swing it any way they want for any purpose they want. And that's what they do. But that card house is going to fall someday. Don't know when. Could be tomorrow. Could be sometime beyond our lifetimes. Because I'll tell you what, they've dragged this out a lot longer than I ever thought they could have done it. So, it'll fall when they're ready for it to fall, because they're the ones that control that. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here and relax for the rest of the evening. Going to try to get the intro video for the Dirt Cheap Preps channel done tomorrow, which will only take a few minutes. I'm just going to basically talk about what the channel's about, which I covered most of it in that very first video I did, the one on light. But I just want to make a video of its own for that and put it to where people visit the channel, it comes up, all that good stuff. But anyway, I want to get that done tomorrow, and I do want to get this drone video done tomorrow. And then the next one after that will probably be probably be the energy production video. So I've got to get all the way to the back of the closet, which means taking all the stuff that's on the floor of the closet, which is a lot, out of the closet so I can get all the way to the back of the closet so I can get 2 things out of a bag. Ain't that a bitch? But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for you. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you all have a good evening. Don't live in fear. Don't live in fear. Don't live with your head in the sand either. But don't live in fear. Anyway, I hope you all have a good night. God willing, we'll see you tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.